Okay, it is Monday. It is Monday. I'm traveling, but I wanted to do a live for you all because I'm heated. It's always it's always time to fight the Psyop, even if I am traveling. So today I wanted to talk about tactics versus strategy. And also, I wanted to have a brief discussion about the insanity of propaganda psychosis because we have to start calling it out. We have to call out the psychosis that is the result of all this terrible, terrible propaganda. These poor people, these poor people have to face. So that's what I'm going to do. I know it's super late. I usually don't go live this late, but it is what it is. You can watch the recap. Anybody can watch the recap. So, okay. So normally on Monday, I like to focus, again, hi, I'm Layla. I talk about propaganda, social engineering, and the whole Psyop operation that we're going under, and also how to fight back against it, and ultimately how to win, because once we become fluent in propaganda, then we can be able to fight back against it. We can recognize it and help deprogram people around us. Because honestly, I don't want to have to eat the bugs. I know you don't want to have to eat the bugs. And you don't want to be led around by the insanity that they put us under. Okay. So that's me. That's what we do over here. If you're interested in it, we're going to be discussing things that you won't find anywhere else. We're going to be talking about actual tactics, actual strategies, actual propaganda, how to, let's say, not manipulate people, but to exert positive influence to build the community and future you would like to see. Basically deprogram people and reprogram them. That's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so tactics versus strategies. I was thinking about this today because I saw an article and I was just looking up someone, I don't even know. It just came to my mind this is a concept, tactic and strategy. This is a concept that we don't discuss. We all know that there's a psyop. We all know that there's a lot going on. We know these things, but we don't know the tactics. We don't know the strategies that are put in place to control us. Where's my water? One second. I'm makeshift studio over here. You guys, you can thumbs up the video if you like it. Don't worry about it. It's not something that would offend me. If you thumbs up or thumbs down, just go ahead and let me know what you think, because it's what we call engagement. And if you're interested in these topics, it helps, support my little channel. So back to it. Tactics versus strategies. I was thinking about the whole idea that people don't really understand what's a strategy, what are tactics, why do they even matter? Why do they matter? We don't know. We need to understand these things. Everything we hear at this current time is all about, the influencers getting upset about the drag shows, or, we hear about the invasion or the migrant crisis or the migrant crisis that is an invasion. We hear about all of these things and we're all riled up about them. We all get upset about them. We put a lot all this negative energy. But at a certain point, we have to start discussing the tactics, discussing the strategies, understanding what people are doing, and understand how it affects us, so that we can reverse engineer them and make ourselves immune to them. We're no longer going to be susceptible to the propaganda, to their strategy, to their tactics. Because propagandists, they have a lot of tactics. And when I say they, They is the organization, the group of people who are, deploying this propaganda, because propaganda is an ever evolving thing. It's an ongoing campaign. They have to switch things out. They have to focus on one thing, focus on another. This didn't go so well. Let's talk about this topic. Let's switch from topic A to topic B. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of analysis going on. So they is the collective group of people who are putting together, that propaganda, that are pushing it out to people. It's not like lizard people or anything like that. It's just an organization of people who are putting out a specific message in an organized manner to influence society and ultimately, social engineer society. Oh, we got some, let's see. Expose the truth. Yes. Yes, I know it's super late, but I thought it would be fun to just go on because I'm here and I just finished setting this up, my little portable studio. And so I wanted to, it's Monday, get into the topic. So we've got this propaganda. We know we're under this Psyop. We know that we're under attack. Oh my God, they're coming for us. They're getting us. But what are the tactics they're using? ¿Por qué? Like, what are the tactics they're using? What is their strategy? What's the overall strategy that they're deploying? So many of us sit and feel confident because we've recognized something's happening, but we don't really understand the components of it. So we can't really interact with it at a level that's necessary to, disarm it, neutralize it, whatever you want to call it, and hopefully reverse engineer it. Like, figure out some strategies to help inoculate people to the propaganda, to the psyop. That would be a good thing. Like, aren't you tired of random people just screaming about the most ridiculous issues that don't even matter? And so, yeah. LA folks get away with murder on the time zone. Yeah, we do. So I want to get started with that. But first, I wanted to bring up this lovely clip. Before we get into tactics and strategies, I wanted to review this clip that I just saw with this group of women. And you can see the man on the street interviews. You can see how ridiculously mind-controlled these people are, where they're incapable of using logic. They're incapable of going against the propaganda narrative that's been shoved in their brains. Okay, let's watch. Let's watch this. Here we go. Down into the brainwashing.
12-year-old should be able to get a tattoo.
No. No. It's a pretty permanent decision. They can't make the decision for themselves yet. It's something permanent on their body.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes. Yes.
And I understand how that sounds really hypocritical.
Yes, it's a permanent change on their body, but I think that at that point in their life, they probably know who they are, who they want to be.
And you think so at 12 years old?
Yes.
Yeah.
12-year-old should be able to get a tattoo.
No.
No. It's a pretty permanent decision. They can't make the decision for themselves yet. It's something permanent on their body.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes.
Yes.
And I understand how that sounds really hypocritical.
Yes, it's a permanent change on their body, but I think that at that point in their life, they probably know who they are, who they want to be.
And you think so at 12 years old?
Yes.
Okay. So that's funny. Here we go. So that's really, really funny. That you notice how she said, yes, I know it's hypocritical. I know I'm contradicting myself. Like, they know, this is the thing. These people know that they're being hypocrites. They know they're being contradicted. They know that. But guess what? It doesn't matter because the propaganda is strong in this one. Propaganda psychosis causes you to completely disconnect from your thoughts and actions. You could think whatever you want, but you're still going to say the propaganda, answer. You're still going to say the approved answer. It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, John. Yeah. Remember the force multipliers, psyops too. Useful idiots perpetuate it themselves unknowingly. Yeah, that's really, really true. Cluster B personalities live in their own reality. I know, you're coming with the smoke. You're coming with the smoke tonight. No, it's so true. They live in a reality that is the propaganda reality. And for a lot of us, going through our daily life, having to interact with people like this, it's incredibly frustrating. And we don't really understand what might be happening or why they're doing this. But we have to come to terms with their limitations and who these people are. There's a lot of them like this. The ability to use analytical thought and the ability to overcome the propaganda conditioning and the social engineering that's been going on for years and years is incredibly difficult. It's only a few people who can actually do that. Some people will seek out the information to learn how to become immune to propaganda and do the work necessary. And some people are just born not going to fall for the BS. Oh, why is it always 98% of the time liberal women? I guess they rule this culture along with certain types of black folks. Yeah, no, what you see is that, but, the thing is this. It's working. And I know a lot of people complain about women, women and this and that, and, people of, minorities, if they vote this way, it's all going to be Democrat, it's all going to be, the New World Order, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it's working. Their propaganda, their marketing is working. They're putting these, sort of cannon fodder people in front, just to create this polarization, to help neutralize people on the other side who might not agree. But their methods are working. Their tactics are working, obviously, because they're gaining momentum. They've gained momentum. Now the time here is understanding what can we do to counteract that. What can we do? Just saying, it's always these people. It's always these people. Let's just get rid of these people, and that's not really going to be the solution. These people are, for whatever reason, the liberal dudes, let's just say, to do a generalization, the liberal dudes are neutralized and neutered, and the women are chanting and screaming about these things because they're all riled up about issues that probably won't affect their lives. So that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. And we have to consider these things and acknowledge these realities and then work within those limitations and work within those realities to actively change. One of the great, quotes that I have from Saul Alinsky is his tactic is you have to deal in reality how it is. If these people behave this way, if these people don't value freedom, if these people don't use, if they don't use critical thinking or foresight, you got to plan for that, and you got to work around it. But these are all positive things. Like the war on terrorism, they have to be effective only a few times. Countering it has to be effective every time. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Among themselves, it's working. Yeah, no, it's, oh, really? That's a really good point. Yeah, it is working on themselves, but eventually it works on the other side too. People get worn down. There's the aspect of propaganda that just wears people down. But I think that video is really interesting. And I play that because you need to be very aware and very clear on what exactly their mental state is if you're dealing with people, and understand how this has affected them. You can't, this person is fully aware that they're being a hypocrite. They're fully aware that they're being contradictory. That's all there is to it. It's really unfortunate, but there's ways to work around it. There's anything is possible with the right messaging. Once you understand what the problem is, if you just think, oh, I need to tell them the truth, somehow they're not aware that they're being hypocritical. No, they're aware they're being hypocritical. So now you have to work around that. That's all. It's not a big deal. That's the thing about propaganda. It doesn't care what the challenge is exactly. It only cares about finding the right solution. And it knows through trial and error, the right solution will eventually come, because human beings respond to the same basic stimulus. They respond to the same simple methods and tactics. You just have to figure out what's the right combination of the tactic, what's the right message, what's the right incentive, what is the right combination that's going to get them to act in the way that you want them to act, even if they know that what they're doing is hypocritical. And that's just how it is. It's not that bad. You have to embrace it. Embrace the chaos that is propaganda in the human mind, I would have to say. Helps to identify when it will happen. That's a good point. Finding the genesis of the propaganda intended outcome helps to identify when it happens. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, come in, you guys. Thumbs up the video, like. We're talking about tactics and strategies tonight, because we have to do that. It's cool. We can start. Oh, good. I'm glad we can all start now that you're here. Okay. So here we go. We're going to get into the discussion of tactics and strategies, because on this channel, again, we don't just gawk at the propaganda and be like, look how crazy the propaganda is. We actually try to understand, what are they doing? How do we protect ourselves? How do we inoculate ourselves from the propaganda? And then how do we go ahead and move forward to present a counter narrative to try to deprogram the rest of these crazy folks, or at least to corral them enough so that we don't all end up eating bugs. I don't care if they eat the bugs. Don't get me wrong. I don't care if they eat the bugs. I care about if I have to eat the bugs. Goals. Goals. Practical problem solving. Okay. What is that? It depends on who's in power. We couldn't even discuss this if this was Guatemala. Oh, that's a good point. Sorry. All right. So first, let's go into... All right, here we go. Okay, let's start. First one, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this out. The first one we have here, just understanding strategy versus tactics, the difference. Now, where are you guys going to talk about this stuff? Because I'm all about tangibles. Like, I need results. Okay, so this whole, we're just gonna like gawk at the crazy TikTokers. No, we're gonna figure this out. About 2,500 years ago, Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War. In it, he said, strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Bay. He's like, my heart will go on. I love it. I love people who can dissect and view reality to the point, because this is the thing. Propagandists can zoom into reality, become hyper aware, and see reality for what it is, objectively, not what we project out, because we're always constantly projecting out what we want, what we think is the right thing. Oh, this is what we want it to be. No, this is what it is. Propagandists and people who understand reality, once you get to that clarity, then you can start to manipulate it, because you know what you have to change. You know what levers you have to pull, because you see reality for it is. You're not just solving a problem that doesn't exist. And that's what most people are doing. They're solving the wrong problem, or they're working at a problem that's not real. Like, people who spend time worrying about climate change, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is people who are trying to, destroy all of our farming in hopes that we can fight climate change because the cows fart too much. But yeah, that's just no. Okay. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Listen. Say less. Tactics and strategy are not at odds with one another. They're on the same team. Okay, sorry. They're on the same team, and they have been for many centuries. Here's how we define the tactical versus the strategic. Yes. Oh, great point. I have to stop for a second. I have to stop for 1 second. Joey. Yes. They can't beat common sense. This is why we will soon see the next step in massive censorship. No, 100%. Because they can't. You can't have a propaganda campaign if you don't have the ability to censor dissenting voices. Because people will be like, that's weird. Insert Cardi B voice. Okay. So strategy. So strategy defines the long-term goals and how you're planning to achieve them. In other words, your strategy gives you the path you need toward achieving your organization's mission. So this is the long-term goal. This is what we're actually trying to solve. Oops. Did my camera go off? That's weird. Sorry, guys. Oops. Sorry about that. I think something got shorted. Anyway, it should be back. Okay, so strategy defines the long-term goals and how you're planning to achieve them. What are you trying to solve? Are you trying to solve climate change, or are you trying to depopulate? Like which one is it? Are you trying to starve people to death? Like which one is it? Because if you're trying to solve, if you even know what the problem is you're trying to solve, you can, at least from a bird's eye view, just like, oh, okay, I don't think this is going to work. Just starving everybody, for example. I'm sorry, I'm so onto the farming thing. That's going to be a reoccurring thing because I'm just so against that. That's going to be something you could at least reflect on. Now, the tactics are the much more concrete and are often oriented towards smaller steps and a shorter time frame along the way. They involved best practice, specific plans, resources, etc. They're also called incentives. Okay, cool. Incentives. What's your incentive? Ooh, the online safety bill. Yeah, that's another one. So tactics versus strategy. So we can see the difference between the tactic and the strategy, understanding those things, because we have to be able to differentiate what's going on. Like, what are we attacking? What kind of tactics, like call out which specific tactics they're using so they don't just weaponize those things against us. Ooh, okay. I don't even know. That's a great comment. I'm going to save that comment for a second. Great comments, you guys. Starving a bunch of the first world for a brief time, so that like 30 days or so. Yeah. No, the whole thing is ridiculous trash. It's all ridiculous trash. It's all ridiculous trash, and we need to fight against it. Okay, next one. Let's go into it a little bit more. the relationship between strategies and tactics. And I know I'm being like, oh, this is obvious, but no, we really have to understand these things, because when you're actually interacting with these things, when you're actually trying to use different tactics to achieve the strategy, the goal you have, you want to firmly have a concrete understanding of these things. All men, Sun Tzu says, all men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none of them can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Sun Tzu illustrates that while tactics are more concrete and easier to see, like we can easily see them using false association, we can easily see them gaslighting us, we can easily see them, using progressive disclosure. Well, that's actually not so easy to see, but we can all see the gaslighting. We can all see the straw man arguments they throw around. These are all the tactics they're using, and we can spot them, and we can name them. If we can name it, we can tame it. No. But if we can name it, then we can disarm the ability for the tactic to work, because people don't like to be manipulated. So when you call out these tactics, when you understand what they are, you can sort of disarm the ability of that the power of that tactic in itself. But if you don't understand the strategy, you're going to get lost and not understand, oh, what are they trying to achieve? We could, like, for example, we could bash out the climate change thing, or we could bash out the digital ID thing, or whatever. But if we don't understand the overall strategy and what that ties into, we're sort of just like constantly running up against the wall and running up all the different, underlying agendas. So we have to have that holistic, clear picture in order to truly be effective. Tactics are more concrete and easier to see. An overarching strategy is equally important. The question should not be strategy versus tactic, but strategy and tactics. Think of these two techniques as two different sides of the same coin. Both are necessary to achieve your goals. Okay, goal setting, understanding what's the goal, what's the agenda. Yes. The fries when you get your jab. David, the tactic, just the entire left being communist communistly instructed from elementary school onward, drag queens for babies, don't talk back up to 18. Yeah, Marxism in college for 48 years solid. Yeah, those are all tactics. And it works toward their overall strategy, doesn't it? So if someone is trying to reach their goals solely with strategy, they won't get anywhere, since tactics are the concrete action items, okay? We're trying to strategize, we're trying to push this over, but our tactics are really flawed, like the Republicans. Let's say the Republicans' marketing and general propaganda messages and PR isn't really great. We know what their strategy is, to be conservative and speak the truth, but their tactics are kind of trash. Sorry, they're not that great all the time. Like, no. That's why they don't have cultural influence in the same way, I would say. They won't get you anywhere, since the tactics are the concrete action items that take you where you need to go. When a team only uses strategy, the only thing that they'll be doing is planning to achieve goals instead of doing the work that needs to be done to achieve them. So the strategy is that big goal, that big picture, what we want. We want freedom, we want America, we want 2A, woo, woo, sunsets. We don't want gay beer, Bud Light, or whatever. It's just ridiculous stuff, because obviously that's silly. But that's the strategy, but their tactics are trash. I'm like, come on. On the other hand, You can't achieve your business goals on tactics alone. This is business oriented, sorry. You can't achieve your goals on tactics alone. Tactics without strategy quickly turn into aimless work. When this is the case, people are just taking arbitrary actions with no strategic objective in place. In the short term, they can feel like busy work for team members. In the long term, it can lead to frustration, burnout, and dissatisfaction. And the black pill being like, everything's rigged. Ah, it's black pill. Ah. Great comments, you guys. By the way, great comments. I really appreciate it. I'm just trying to read this before I go back and look at the comments. But definitely thanks for all the people in here. Give a thumbs up if you like the content. It really helps my channel. So definitely give a thumbs up. Okay, next one. I hope this is making sense. I really want us to understand these things so that we can be more effective and not just waste our time talking to people. Because, like, listen, there's nothing I hate more than wasting my time talking to crazy chicks and crazy people like that we just saw in the video where the people knew that they were contradictory. They knew they were being hypocritical about the kids getting the hormones versus kids getting a tattoo, but they didn't care because they're brainwashed. Okay, so SMART goals. So I'm going to talk about goals just so we have a clear understanding of what goals are, because again, dealing with abstraction, dealing with, oh, I don't know, it's a goal is this, a goal is that. No, we need to have concrete understanding of these things, because when we get into the field, when we're dealing with people, when we're understanding and learning how to inoculate ourselves from the propaganda, inoculate other people that we care about, trying to change our community, trying to change our society, doing the counter narrative that a lot of us have been doing since 2020 and probably before, but didn't really have any organized strategy and organized tactics to put it together to be successful, let's say. But I know we all did what we could. But what is a goal? SMART goals. This is SMART is an acronym to help you create defined, falsifiable, and attainable goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Now, this is incredibly important because when you're dealing with an incremental change, when you're dealing with social engineering practices and you're trying to change society, you're trying to change yourself, you're trying to change the world around you, you're trying to change your crazy leftist cousin, or whoever, you're trying to improve society, create this cohesion, making this nation a better place so we don't just fall to the chaos. When you're trying to do that, you have to have a concrete goal, and it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, okay? Like achieving, no one will ever have premarital sex. Like that's not a solution. That's not a realistic goal. That's not an achievable goal. Like, you have to be able to measure these things, because propagandists, they don't just go off of what feels right and what they want to say and what they think is truth or whatever. They don't care about that. They care about all of these things: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. That's just how it has to be. All of this vague, oh, we just want truth. Oh, we just want people to do good. What? What is that? I don't understand. It's not really a goal. That's not a SMART goal. And we need to start using these words when someone comes up to us and says, oh, we need to do this or do that, and oh, we need this, start talking to your people who you share similar mindset or working toward the same goal of improving the country in some way. Tell them, you need to make a SMART goal. Bring this up with somebody. Say, hey, that's not really a SMART goal. And then you can tell them, is that a specific goal? Is that measurable? Is that any way realistic or achievable? Then let's figure out what's a realistic, achievable goal, because that's what they did in this country. They had to compromise around a lot of things because they know it was working toward a better future. It's an evolution. Human beings don't change overnight. And I know a lot of us think, oh, people just change, everybody went woke and went crazy. No, it was a long process. Social engineers, these Marxists, these people, they work on a long time frame. They have long-term strategic planning. They have long-term strategy. They have tactics for every step in achieving that goal of the strategy. They have that. We don't on our side, unfortunately. We don't, because we're not using this type of language. We're not thinking in these terms. We don't have a website like Beautiful Trouble. Go check it out. Beautiful Trouble. Google it. It is a action plan on how to be a radical leftist and manipulate people. They have the grassroots training, and we need to build it. We're starting here, and there's lots of other people who discuss these things, but let's be real. It's going to get rough. Don't worry. Stick with me. It's going to get rough. It's going to get rough. Hey, everybody in the chat. Sorry, I'm just trying to... Ooh, so many good comments. Yeah. Okay, so there's the goals. Now, let's look at... Let's look at the next slide. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Okay. So what makes good strategy? Now, just like in business, we have to use that as an example to understand what makes a good strategy. This is all from business. You can go look up tactics and strategies in business and just reverse engineer it to apply to whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Like if you're... Eventually, I'll have more data around this, but or more content around this, obviously, step by step. But right now, if you're just interested, just look up business strategies and tactics. So what makes a good strategy? Data-informed decisions. Again, data is key. Data is critical. There's no such thing as I feel like this is the right thing to do. You need to have data. Propagandists, the people who are manipulating and controlling society, do not do what they think. Oh, I think that this is the right thing to say. No, they go off what works. They test things out. They use data. They analyze. They change. They modify, because their objective is to get you to act in a certain way. It's not about what they think. Oh, you should like this. You should care. You should care about freedom. You should care about these. It's not, oh, you should care, where you're projecting out your desires and your feelings onto another person and thinking somehow they're going to resonate with it. What if they resonate with French fries? What is that? De Blasio in New York gave people French fries for the jab. Krispy Kreme donuts. That might be what they want. A good strategy is well thought out, planned, and extremely well researched. Again, the profiling, the tactical empathy, understanding what people want, what motivates them, what do they care about? What do you care about? What do you care? What's your focus? This is how you can also, looking at this, how you can work to make sure you're creating this immunity to propaganda. Do you know what you care about? Do you? What is it? What's going on? If you're looking to build a strong long-term strategy, it's important to gather information and data from past experiences to influence your future. Data-driven decision-making process. For example, some industries experience seasonality with their business. Knowing how to use that seasonality to your advantage is a good example of strategic thinking and using historical data to your benefit. So this is obviously an example about business, but again, it works for propaganda to understand what strategy is to get a more concrete picture of it. So a good strategy is well thought out, planned, and extremely well researched. So, and now what makes a good tactic? Here we go. So, what makes good tactics? Tactics are short term. If the strategy is the long-term plan, tactics are the short-term steps that help you hit smaller goals. Tactical planning is the act of breaking down your strategic plan into short-term actions. All right, tactics are clearly tied to strategy. If you're struggling to understand how a specific tactic contributes to your strategy, it might not be the best tactic for your strategy. I love how they're like, basic babes. Babes, listen. Is it working? Is it working? First question, is it working? Why are you doing it? Oh, because I feel like they should this. If you ever in your life say they should do this and they're not doing it, that means you're failing. That means your strategy, your tactics are not working. You need to go get some more data. You need to go, oops, sorry. Okay. You need to get some more data. You need to go analyze. You need to figure it out because it's not working. If it's not working, it's not working. They should do this. They're not doing it, then figure out a new strategy. Okay. So you shouldn't be trying to struggle to understand. It shouldn't be struggle love with these tactics. Struggle love. We're so used to the struggle love. Ride or die with these tactics. The work you do should actively contribute to the goals that you want to achieve. So if it's not working, that's the first thing. And I know that, like, for example, Republicans, conservatives, they're just like, oh, if we could just keep doing it. Bro, it's not working. None of this is working. People don't like you. They'd rather cut off healthy organs than align with you. That's kind of a red flag. The goal setting framework, okay, we're not going to go into that. About setting these frameworks and this. Overall, though, I think this gives a clear and good enough introduction. Struggle love. What is it? Okay. Struggle love sounds grapey to me, or struggle sessions. Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be struggle sessions. It shouldn't be struggle love. We should be making, we should achieving things. We should be achieving this. All right, let's go through some of these comments. Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go. It's not working. You have a bad strategy tactics, GOP. But what if we ran another moderate this time? I know. They're so in denial. It's really bad. Like, at this point, I just know that they must be working for the other side. Because it's like, what are you doing, bro? It's not working. That sounds like a good slogan, conservatives. We don't cut off healthy organs. I know, at this point, like, go with the party that won't, like, try to convince you to cut off healthy organs. Da-da! Or, you can keep your organs this time. Like, it's crazy. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I think in this new setup, my camera's like overheating. I think this room is too hot and the camera's like overheating. It's like, so I think I'm gonna have to end this a little bit shorter than I wanted to because my camera keeps going off. But yeah, great suggestions, great comments. I think this is pretty succinct. It's pretty short. I know it's late, and my camera is overheating for some reason. I need to turn the air conditioning on next time. But I really think these are the practical steps that we need to take to make action happen, to make change happen, to not be susceptible to propaganda, to not just respond to all their little tactics and strategies. Because, oh, guess what? All of their tactics revolve around making you react and your reactionary nature, you know? So, I cannot stand the idea of another kinder, gentler candidate. One word of truth outweighs the world. Nice. Okay. So yeah, I really appreciate you all from joining. Give a thumbs up, like the channel, subscribe, please. We're going to get into some really, really fun stuff. And I'm really excited because propaganda, it can change the world. It just needs to be in the right direction. All right. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks for watching.